rolling now.
There you go. Welcome to Angel in the Wiz.
Hi, America.
Love, and that was written by somebody else. Well, the credits are all up there. It shows you.
Okay.
Wow. So, I guess the whole country is kind of like in fall or winter at this point. No.
I think so. Yeah. I know that where we live, it's nicer out. You don't sweat walking from your car to the house, and your house to the car, which is amazing.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because that can be murder.
Yes.
And
I had the windows open in the house the other day.
Oh, so that's nice.
Yeah, and the breeze was coming in. It was lovely.
Makes it feel nice.
Yeah.
I have a thing about packaging. Okay.
Yes, you do, and I think about you every time when I have to put something in the microwave.
It can't be. And we scream at you people, you manufacturers, that trying to sell a product to people, you want the people to buy the product. They're happy to buy the product. They are not happy with the inability to read the instructions properly because it's too small. And I noticed on something, a cream chip beef or something like that the other day, that they had increased the packaging.
They did.
Yes. Now what they did? Now they still had much more they should have done.
Right.
But I noticed that they had made clearly a definition.
There you go.
You know, they put the 7 minutes that you need to time it in a little square like this. It stood out. It was hit. So.
Well, that just that makes me feel good about that someone important somewhere is watching our little show.
Boy, I bet you would never admit it. I don't think. I bet you. I'm surprised we still have the audience that we do. But I figure there's probably stray cats and other people. What's that? That guy in Bolt and playing changing channels.
Yeah.
And what was for him? We'd be in trouble. But this is what it is, and I guess planned this way or not, if we do continue to do this show, it will kind of document what's ever going on in my life, for better, for better or ill. Now, let's talk about. Recently, I was trying to go to sleep. I couldn't go to sleep. There was just enough pain to prevent me from going to sleep. I asked the doctor to give me some industrial strength sleeping pills, just so I go to sleep. And he gave me something called Ambien. Okay, so talk to me about Ambien. What is the pros and cons, or what?
I have never taken Ambien.
Okay.
And when I had a sleeping issue when I was on antidepressants many years ago, I had one of the side effects was I had a hard time sleeping. So they said, we're going to give you a sleeping pill. And I said, which one? And they said, well, we're going to give you Lunesta, which worked for me. And they said, we're never going to give you Ambien because there have been some issues with Ambien. For some people, it works well. But for other people, it does something, and they're almost in like a sleepwalking daze.
Okay.
And sometimes if you fight it, some people who fight it, it gets worse. Other people it just doesn't. You think you're sleeping, but you're not. And there have been stories of people like driving, and all of a sudden they like wake up and they don't know how they got into the car or got to where they were, and even know where they are. Yeah, and that your faculties are off, and it's almost you have conversation. Your eyes are open. You're having conversations. It's like you're sleepwalking.
Right.
And it's not good
for
adults at all. Some people can take it and it does its job. Other people, it's just not a good drug for them. So
not as stable as we would like.
Right.
Wow.
So, it's not something I recommend to
So
people.
so tell me about this other thing now. That after we're done here, we're going to go run around and shop and stuff, and you're talking about Z-Quil.
Z-Quil,
And
yes.
what is that?
It's an over-the-counter sleeping aid.
Right.
It's non-habit forming, which is also good because a lot of the prescription stuff can have addictive qualities
Right.
to it. So it's non-habit forming. And if you've ever taken, for the public out there, if you've ever taken something like Benadryl or anything with like an antihistamine for an allergy attack or mosquito bites, or it's, you know, your allergies are acting up and it makes you sleepy, there's a chemical combination of all of the things they put in those drugs that the side effect is sleepiness.
Right.
Well, the makers of Benadryl said, why don't they isolated that chemical compound and they made it into a sleeping aid. So all you're getting is the chemical that should help you sleep.
Oh, that's what you want.
And that's what you want. Some people, when they've had trouble sleeping, they'll take the Tylenol PMs, they'll take the Benadryl nighttime, the Robitussin nighttime, things like that. And what you're getting in those is extra drugs that you don't need.
Right.
You know, just because you want to sleep. So this one just has a sleeping aid in it. And I take it every once in a while when I am having a hard time falling asleep. And I actually only take, there's a liquid form and the pill form, and I have the pills, and they give you 2 pills, and you know you're supposed to take 2, and I can't take 2 because it works so well on me.
Right.
I would sleep for like 14 hours, and I only take 1, which is enough to help my body fall asleep, and then it wears off just at the right time in the middle of the night, so I wake up and I don't feel, you know, groggy,
Right.
you know, because you don't want that either. So.
No.
But it's a good sleeping aid.
Well, I'm going to
It's a good thing to try.
Well, we're going to give it a try tonight.
Yes.
I wanted to have at least 2 solid nights
And you haven't
of
had
rest.
that yet?
I never had no solid nights in the hospital. I came
Well,
home. I've
that's
been about 5
the
days,
hospital.
5 days home, and not one single solid night all the way through. You know, because you're laying there and all of a sudden it starts to hurt, and so you got to move, and you move, and you know, if you take a pain pill, it may or may not affect the pain. Sometimes they don't do it.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes
You know,
it doesn't.
and so then it becomes impossible to get calm enough or relaxed enough to fall asleep again. And you know, it's tough. It can be tough. It's tough for me. So I'm hoping that when we go over and see this stuff, we get it. And so now, what would you recommend? That get it in a pill, so that if I take whatever they tell me and I need more, I can just take another little half or something like that?
Well, the pills are like liquid gels.
Okay.
So I actually, so you can take either the pill. You can't cut the pill in half.
Gotcha.
So you would either take 2 pills, which
Right.
would be a full adult dose, or
Right.
you can take a half a pill, which is
Okay.
half of the adult dose.
Okay.
But it's not habit forming, so you can take 2, and then you read the directions, and I think it says like you can take
Up to
so many in a certain time
Right.
frame. You know, but you have to remember it's a sleeping aid.
right.
So for people who have to get up and go to work, you don't
Right.
want to take 4.
Right.
You might not wake up for 24 hours.
Right.
But since you have the life of luxury and get to watch TV all day,
Right.
Fox News ratings, I'm sure, are loving you.
Well, I'm sure, you know.
But you can
I watched
take
them in
what
the
you
hospital, you know.
need. So you can take what you need to make you feel better and to get you to sleep and relax.
I had to have 4 transfusions.
Really?
I mean, 4 packs of blood.
When you went in
when-
because of that blood thing.
Yeah, because and I don't know why. I guess because, you know, when you have this kind of cancer, the blood comes from your colon and goes right, I guess, into this mix and then out. And so my hemoglobin went from like 12 to 6.
Which is not good.
And and they wouldn't even operate. They said, you know, you'd have to go do this. So I've done that, and I don't know.
You've had several hospital visits in the last several months, so.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. But well, we're
Now,
going to see.
let me ask you this. How was your experience in the hospital? I know you had the doctors poking and prodding and people sticking things and cutting up, but generally, were they nice to you? You
Everybody
didn't
was
get anybody
fine.
that was like, you know, meh.
Nah, everybody was nice. Celebration. All the rooms are private, so you have your own TV and you can do everything like that. Which that's for me, that's good
great,
enough. That's
yeah.
yeah, fine. Everything else is the water under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But had good nurses. Everybody was attentive. Everybody was kind to me. I try to be kind to everyone back. And so all things considered,
That's good.
yeah, I really can't complain. I mean, we was hoping on for a different outcome.
Right.
But you don't really ever control the outcome, especially when you're going in. But we'll have to see. And the one good thing, I guess, that comes out of this is that I still do have the chemo option, and they're making it with a new drug, and my doctor feels that this could be good, good for me. So that's what I'm going to do. See, because it was just the.
Are they still going to do the port?
Well, the port's in.
Right.
It's
I
still
mean,
in.
is that how they're still going to administer
Oh
it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
That's
would
good.
guess. I'll have to make sure with work that they're still okay with me doing what I'm doing. But they've been awful nice, really have been, and it'd be nice for it to stay that way for a while. It's been a very
Emotional.
yeah and sobering experience because all of a sudden your life has changed. Okay, and there's too many people that watch the show that know me, so I'm not going to go anywhere near how deep it is. Okay, but it's like
The path you thought you were heading down is now diverted.
yeah. Wherever I was going on that path now, well, there are other components that come into play.
Right.
Now, that's why the chemo is so terribly important. If the chemo does its job, then I've got the time, and I'll go back on that path and pursue those things that I want to pursue. But it's not something that you really know about ahead of time, so it's a bit tough. So what's happening out there in the real world? And am I missing anything? Is Obama
I don't think you're
being
really
impeached
missing
yet?
anything.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, he's still in the office.
Oh, what a liar. Has that been hasn't it embarrassed? Doesn't it seem embarrassing to think that here's a guy who for the past 2 or 3 years have been telling people, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that.
And then you can't.
And he's a liar, and he knew he was a liar when he was saying it.
I will tell you this, I was very disappointed because he went on some talk show or was interviewed by somebody. Again, I get my news from the AP mobile app. And, his reaction was like, I'm aware that cancellations are being sent and I'm sorry, and that was it. And I just thought,
and he could care less.
Wow, that's sad.
He just doesn't care. Well, I've had a new relationship with the hospital these past couple of weeks. For those of you that have missed the shows, I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed the ones when we come back with. But I couldn't tell you how happy I was that this happened in the old regime and not in Obamacare, because I'm at that age where they say, "Hey, take a pill,
Yeah, I understand.
just go in the corner and die." Okay, because it's easy. You're not young, you're not productive, you're not doing anything else like that. How would you know productive or young for that matter? Because ideas come from where they come from. And if you're just going to back and write off everybody over 60 and say we don't need to hear from them, well, if you go back and you look at some of the things that was accomplished by people 60 and over, you don't want to lose all those people, I mean, just doesn't pay, So anyway, I know we've kind of rattled on about the hospital and all that, but
I do have my story about my nephew.
Oh, go, baby.
So when we were at church, and it happened. I took him to church on All Saints Day. Like I said last week, this was the first time my niece and nephew had been to a church. They were of age to understand. At least my nephew read along, so he was reading, and he really enjoyed reading along as to what was going on. So then it's time for communion, and I go up, and you're offered as Catholics, you get the host and the wine.
Right.
And so we go, and my nephew stays with me. My niece wanted to walk with me, and so, or my nephew stayed in the pew, and so I go and I get the host and I get the wine, and I kneel to pray, and my nephew goes, Auntie. I said, yes, honey, quietly, and he goes, this look of like devastation on his face. He's like, what did the blood taste like?
Oh, God.
And I just realized at that point, like, they don't understand what really is going on.
Right.
And it's hard for me to explain, that. So,
This is there's a ritual representation.
But it caught me so off guard, and that I just said, well, I'll answer that question later. Now you have to pray. And he's like, okay. And then he never really asked it to me again, because I rewarded them for being good in church. We went for ice cream later.
Oh, great.
So, after that, but my niece said to me, she goes, I want to go again. When are you going again? And I said, well, I'm going on Sunday. And she says, okay, I want to go on Sunday. I said, well, you have to ask your mom and dad, because as I might have mentioned earlier, that there are some religion issues between my brother-in-law and my sister, and what they want for their children and what they both believe in.
Sure.
And I just said, I have to ask mom and dad. So when I took them home, the first thing that my niece said to her father was, I want to go again with Auntie Natalie.
Oh, that's nice.
And which was a moment of pride for me, that she wants to know more about this God and stuff.
Right.
And my nephew was kind of indifferent about it, which is fine.
Yeah.
He's 8. And then my niece asked my sister the next morning, can I go to church again with Aunt Natalie? So it was a prideful moment for me, and I try not to be full of too much pride, but just to know that 1 hour and 15 minutes that they spent with me at church made a impact on her. Yeah. So it was nice to have that. So, which they were real funny about it. They didn't, my brother-in-law is kind of indifferent about faith. He doesn't really practice. I don't even think he has faith. He's not even. People describe it as agnostic, and I just don't even think he's that.
Right.
He's not atheist, because that believes in not believing.
Right.
He just is like.
Agnostics want to be proven.
I don't think he even wants that. I just think he's like, whatever, I don't care. He just doesn't care.
He's no longer committed to any specific spiritual following.
Right. And my sister and I were Catholic, so he's been very kind of adamant about not having religion in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's a shame.
Which is a shame. But the problem is that now they're starting to ask questions,
mm-hmm.
and they're asking them to me, and I'm having to answer them. And I only answer what I feel confident in answering, like having to describe to my nephew where heaven is. Or, God, like the conversation last week with my niece about God and Jesus and their father-son relationship. But I've been telling my sister and my brother-in-law, I said, they don't have to believe in God, but they have to understand the stories. They don't know the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you should memorize the 10 Commandments. I mean,
no, but they
don't know
good life
They
lessons.
don't know the story about Moses or Noah or Adam and Eve or Cain and Abel.
Oh, they don't go to Sunday school.
Or David and Goliath. They don't know that. Which, no matter what religion you practice,
mm-hmm.
those stories are consistent in all of them.
That's right.
And not only that, they're in literature, and they're referenced to in literature. So how can you not read a book like The Lord of the Rings or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which are truly based on these religious beliefs, and not understand that, So I think my sister finally had this conversation with my brother-in-law, and she won. So I get a text message a couple of days later saying, I'm taking, me and your niece are going to be in church on Sunday. I said, okay, that's cool.
That's good.
So,
well, I mean, I've seen very few people in my life that have ever suffered from an involvement with spirit, with a spirit, and, whether it's church or spirituality, whatever it is. It seems like almost every time that's there, it has a positive impact.
Yes.
So I mean, you can't really feel too bad.
Right. And I told my brother-in-law. Well, I told my sister. I said it's not so much. Or my brother-in-law doesn't want the children to be Catholic because he hates the policies and practices of the Catholic Church and their political views.
Right.
And I said I understand that, but my sister and I both know Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
And while I respect that, like, the children need to know the stories. They need to know about God created the earth in 7 days. They need to know, all that stuff. And So it finally, I think there was like a caving point.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Oh.
which is good
Let me see.
to have that, but I did get new glasses.
These are new.
Yeah, you might not. You know, people are like, "Oh, they are," because they're the same color and shape as
Right.
my old ones.
Right.
Except my old ones were a little bit shorter,
Right.
and so this is just.
You have more viewing area.
Yeah.
It must be nicer
it's
too. Huh?
nice on the computer because now I was like, "Oh, I can see every pixel now when I'm
Right.
working online instead of like fuzzy words."
You're still doing the
Online
education.
teaching. Yep,
Yeah, that's
I still
very cool.
teach online. Everything's going well with that. Keeps me busy.
Well, we're gonna have to think
So-
about some topics for the coming weeks,
Yes.
and we've been pretty good about politics. You know, we used to really rail, and kind of backed off. But you know, when you see a guy making such a terrible fool of himself, you don't want to say anything. Just let him do what he's
Let
doing.
him
you know.
continue to make. And I'm kind of on board with you. You know, just from reading, and I know you don't like the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, but to see some of the clips that they're throwing out there,
Now,
and I'm like,
they are finally showing.
whoa, like, okay then. So.
Yes, and if the media had done its job earlier on, we might have never been stuck with him. But then I don't know that being stuck with a John McCain would have been
Or Mitt Romney.
Yeah, right.
You know,
either way.
like I think that oh wait. Adam is watching, folks, so he's got a comment.
The website has been so bad that the calculator on the website won't work.
The calculator for the Obamacare website.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that's been on computers for the last 20 years.
Right.
And that won't even work.
Well, that just shows you how balled up it is.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's funny. I watched on TV these ads. Especially I was in hospital. I watched a lot of TV, and they've got these ads. These companies come up. We build it, your website for free. And I'm thinking to myself, see, guys, this is all you would have to do was call. But they don't want to do anything in the private sector. This is a guy who is convinced the government is it, the cat's meow, if it that, blah blah blah. And if he had just gone out to any web builder that worth his salt, they would have never had this problem.
Well, then let me ask you this, because you just made a quick reference to Mitt Romney. Do you think he would have made a better president?
I mean, because
I know you vote. I'm assuming you voted for him
Well,
because he was Republican.
there's certain things
So-
that you would have had with Mitt Romney that you want in any real president. Like,
Right.
you want him to love your country.
Right.
You want him to care about America. You want to see him care about Americans. You don't want to have everybody blame America for everything. That's what you would have got with Romney. But one of the things you wouldn't.
Do you think he
wouldn't
would have had the leadership tool?
I don't think so, because I watched too many times during the campaign when he should have been out there with an axe, saying this is not true, and I'm not going to put up with it being there. That's
Right.
why Ted Cruz and those guys are doing so good, because
Well, I do think that you know, I'm an independent, and I tend to be more on the liberal side of things. And I think you said you're young, you're liberal, you're old, you're conservative type thing. And
basically what
but there's policies that I agree with and disagree with on both, and I try to pick the better candidate of the two. But sometimes the Republicans just get on TV and they say dumb things, and they do dumb things.
So do
you
the
know,
Democrats, but the Democrats get
do
covered.
too. The Democrats do too, but I don't know. We'll see what happens in next year when we do the midterms.
Very good.
All right. Buy America, do something good every day, and volunteer at local animal shelter, and enjoy the music.
I've been lonely. I've been waiting for you. I'm pretending show.